Shalom and welcome to Ministries. Thank you very much for listening. So today's reading for the 20th of Cheshvan 5781 is going to be Genesis 18:1, 22 to 24, 2 Kings 4, 1 to 23, Luke 17:28 to 37. And today is the 7th of November 2020, and we are in a most difficult time and transition of the year throughout all of the pandemic and throughout everything else that we are dealing with in America for such a time as this. So these are the readings for the Shabbat, and Shabbat Shalom for the 20th of Cheshvan 5781. I'd just like to open with a prayer. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vayed. And our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So these wonderful scriptures of two which talk of when we give of ourselves, that miracles, Yah gives us, will bring miracles to our lives when we give, when we show hospitality for such a time as this. So it is Genesis 18, 1 to 22 and 24. Then Adonai appeared to him at Mamre's large trees while he was sitting in the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. When he lifted up his eyes to see, suddenly 3 men were standing right by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed down to the ground. Then he said, "My Lord, if now I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass by your servant. Please let a little water be brought so you can wash your feet and make yourselves comfortable under the tree, and let me bring a bit of bread so that you can refresh yourselves. Then you can pass on, since you have passed by your servant." So this is when Abraham was circumcised when he was 99 years old. Can you believe it? Being circumcised at 99 years old. So he was recovering from his circumcision. He was lay down in the heat of the day, and out of his uncomfortableness, his healing from being circumcised, he was very uncomfortable, but he still got up and he still did for others the 3 angels that appeared, with one which we believe was Yeshua. He still got up and he gave to them, made them comfortable, and they said, "Do just as you have said." So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, "Quick, knead 3 measures of fine flour and prepare bread loaves." Then to the herd Abraham ran and took a young ox, tender and good, and he gave it to the servant who quickly prepared it. Then he took the butter and the milk and the young ox that he had prepared and set it before them. While he was standing by them under the tree, they ate. Then they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" "There in the tent," he said. Then he said, "I will most surely return to you in about a year's time." Surprisingly, Sarah, your wife, will have a son. Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years, and Sarah had stopped having the way of women. So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I've grown decrepit, can I have desire, and my Lord so old?" Then Adonai said to Abraham, "Why is it that Sarah laughed, saying, 'Can I really give birth when I am so old?' Is anything too difficult for Adonai? At the appointed time I will return to you in about a year at the Moedim in Hebrew, which is the appointed time that Adonai had for her. At the appointed time I will return to you in about a year, and Sarah will have a son." And Sarah denied it, saying, "I didn't laugh, for she was afraid." But he said, "No, for you did laugh." Then the men got up from there and looked down over Sodom. Abraham was walking with them to send them off. When Adonai said, "Should I keep secret from Abraham what I am about to do, seeing that Abraham will most certainly become a great and mighty nation, and in him all the nations of the earth will be blessed. For I have made myself known to him, so that he will command his sons and his household after him to keep the way of Adonai by doing righteousness and justice, so that Adonai may bring up Abraham what he has spoken about him. Bring upon Abraham what he has spoken about him." Then Adonai said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great indeed, and their sin is very grievous indeed. I want to go down now and see if they deserve destruction, as its outcry has come to me, and if not, I will know." Then the men turned from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham was still standing before Adonai. Abraham drew near and said, "Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Will you really sweep away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to cause the righteous to die with the wicked, and that the righteous and the wicked share the same fate. Far be it from you. Shall the judge of the whole world not exercise justice?" Phew, for such a time as this that we are living in, that Abraham and Sarah, Abraham was just circumcised and he was resting and trying to recuperate from his circumcision. He was 99 years old, and Sarah, being of age herself, 3 angels came down. Of course, one was Yeshua, we believe, that came down. And out of Abraham's, he was distressed from the healing, he was tired, he was healing, but he still found and he still gave. He got the food, he got the drink, he gave out of his discomfort. And I do believe this is the time that we are living in, to find whatever we can give and whatever we can do out of our discomfort throughout all this time, for such a time as this. But you see, Adonai had brought a blessing upon Sarah, that he blessed them with a son. And we know that she did bear a son, Isaac. We know that. So that was the first reading, and the second reading was the miracle of the multiplying oil. 2 Kings 4. Now a certain woman of the wives, the sons of the prophets, cried out to Elijah, saying, Your servant my husband is dead. You know that your servant feared Adonai. Now the Creator has come to take my 2 children to be his slaves. What should I do for you? Elijah asked her. Tell me, what do you have in the house? She replied, Your handmaid has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. Then he said, Go, borrow for yourselves vessels from all your neighbors, empty jars, not just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and behind your sons, and pour into all those vessels, setting aside what is full. So she left and shut the door behind her and behind her sons. They kept bringing the vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, Bring me another vessel. But he said to her, There isn't another vessel. So the oil stopped. Then she came and told the man of God. So he said, Go, sell the oil and pay your debt. Then you and your sons can live on the rest. So that was a multiplying of oil. Another miraculous miracle. And on one day, this is the Shunammite hospitality. One day when Elisha passed through Shunem, where there was a prominent woman who persuaded him to eat some food, and so it was, whenever he passed through, he would stop for a meal. Then she said to her husband, Behold, now I realize that this man, who often passes through, is a holy man of God. Please, let's make a little walled room on the roof, and let's put there a bed, a table, a chair, and a lampstand for him. Then, whenever he comes to us, he can stay there. So she was building a sukkah, a tabernacle on the roof of her house, so that when the man of God came through, that he would tabernacle there amongst them. Praise Yah. So out of her giving, out of her giving, she gave to him. A miracle came. One day he came there and retired to the upper chamber and lay down there. Then he said to the Gehazi, his servant, Call this Shunammite woman. When he had called her, she stood before him. He said to him, Tell her, behold, you have gone into all this trouble. What can be done for you? Can something be communicated to the king or to the commander of the army for you? And she answered, I am living among my own people. So he asked, Then what should be done for her? Then Gehazi answered, In fact, she has no son, and her husband is old. Call her, he said, and when he had called her, she stood in the doorway. Then he said, At this season, next year you will be embracing a son. But she said, No, my lord, do not lie to your handmaid, man of God. Nevertheless, the woman conceived and bore a son. And during that season, the following year, just as Elijah had told her. So, another miracle. Because she gave out. She gave out of a gracious, willing to give. She gave to him. And now, when the child was grown, one day he went out to his father among the reapers. And then he said to his father, My head, my head. So he said to his servant, Carry him to his mother. So he picked him up and brought him to his mother. And the child sat on her lap until noon, and then he died. She then went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, shut the door on him and went out. Then she called to her husband and said, Please send me one of the servants, one of the donkeys, that I may run to the man of God and come back. But he said, Why are you going to him today? It is not the new moon or the Shabbat. So he was asking her that question because they are the two holy days that are set aside on Yah's calendar. The renewing of the new moons for the new months on God's calendars is a Shabbat, a holy day. And of course, the Shabbat, which is the Sabbath day, the seventh day, the Saturday, the seventh day of the Shabbat, of the holy day of God, when we rest. And so, of course, we know what happened next. That Elijah came and healed. He laid upon his son and healed him. And then a miracle. So Yah at this season in time has all these miracles for us. Even though it doesn't look like he does, doesn't sound like he does, that he has all these miracles, praise Yah. For such a time as this season in time. So I'm going to be reading Luke 17, 28 to 37. Now when Yeshua was asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God does not come with signs to be seen, nor will they say, look here or there. But behold, the kingdom of God is in your midst. Oh, praise Yah. You see, all this time we live on this earth, throughout our ups and our downs, our seasons of times, the kingdom of God is in our midst. Then Yeshua said to the disciples, the days will come when you will long to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. They will say to you, look there, or look here. Do not go and chase after them, but just as the lightning flashes from one part of the sky and the lights up another part, so will the Son of Man be in his day. But first he must suffer much and be rejected by his generation. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will also be in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating and drinking and marrying, being given in marriage, until the day Noah entered into the ark. Then the flood came and destroyed them all. It was just the same in the days of Lot. They were eating and drinking and buying and selling and planting and building. But on the day Lot left Sodom, it rained fire, sulfur from heaven, and destroyed them all. Things will be the same on the day when the Son of Man is made fully known. In that day, the one who is on the roof and his possessions in the house must not go down to take them away. In the same way, the one who is in the field must not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever tries to keep his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will preserve it. I tell you, on that night there will be two in one bed, and one will be taken along with the other. There will be two women grinding in the same place, one will be taken and the other left. Where, Lord? They replied, and he said to them, where there is a corpse, there also will be vultures. The vultures will be gathered. So we know for such a time as this that we are living in, throughout all these very difficult times, through the pandemic on the earth, people are dying, people are suffering, losing their lives, losing their jobs, losing their houses. For such a time as this, that Yah is telling us to be aware that we cannot try to save our lives, that we must not look back on the old, that we must move forward into the future that Yah has promised us. that he is leading us into our promised land. That for such a time as this, whatever we can do, whatever we can give, whoever we can help, that Yah will bring our miracles to us for such a time as this. But we must keep ourselves aware, our oils are burning, our lamps are burning. And we must know and try to be discerners of the time that we are living in. For such a time as this, as in the days of Noah, Yeshua will be returning. Praise Yah Adonai, Savarot. So I will leave you with this prayer. May the Lord bless you and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord lift his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Thank you for listening to Zion Branch Ministries. I hope and pray that this has blessed you, and I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I pray and I ask for your prayers for the peace of Jerusalem, your prayers for the United States of America, for all the nations of the world, because all their eyes are on America. But you see, our lives will move forward no matter who is winning the presidency, because we know our trust and our faith is in Yeshua and not in the presidency and not in the things we are hearing or seeing. That for such a time as this, we have our plan already planned out by Yehovah Savarot, the Most High. He has already planned out the days for everyone. We can only pray, and he has set us apart from the world to keep us from his destruction, that he will keep us if we are reading his word, reading his Torah, keeping his commandments, because we love Yeshua. And Yeshua came, he came to, on this earth, he came because of the commandments. He came to satisfy the commandments. He came to justify the commandments, because he is, and he is all the commandments. He is the Torah, he is the way, the truth and the life. Yeshua HaMashiach, our Prince of Peace. I hope and pray this has blessed you, and if it has, and if you feel you need to give, please look on my channel header for the 4 ministries that I sow into. Please give to any one of those ministries if this has blessed you. So I'm saying Shabbat Shalom for such a time as this, on the 7th of Cheshvan, 5781. Praise Adonai Savarot. Amen.